Hello everyone and welcome back to 5D Chess. This is kind of a special video for me, and I've actually been wanting to do this for a while because I've been trying to get back into the game a little bit more, but since a lot of stuff has actually happened in the standard variant, or especially Turn Zero, which seems to be the most played variant this games, there's actually been a lot of theory advancements when it comes to the opening, which is why I wanted to make a video of like covering all these variants. And you might be saying, how am I qualified to do this, to go over this kind of stuff when I haven't been active for the game in a long time? Which is why today I have a special guest with me, which is the current #1 player and 5D Chess World Champion, Ryan. Hello.
Hello.
Alright, sick. Thanks for showing up today, and yeah, I guess we're just gonna jump right into it, right? Yeah, let's. Are you gonna open a? I guess we can go via public lobbies, right?
Yeah. So let's see. Shall I be white, and then I'll?
Yeah, let's do it like that.
No clock. Let me.
Yeah,
turn
I mean the
zero.
clock probably doesn't
Right.
matter. Okay, I think I
Yeah.
got you. Okay, so so again, like the goal of this would kind of be for me, but also I guess kind of for newer players or like chess players that are joining the game, to kind of see what's possible at the moment or playable for both sides, and basically how you get into a playable position. As both side that makes you survive the opening. So I mean, I guess like since the last time I played, not everything has changed. I guess the main thing to watch out for is still the F7 or F2 sacrifice, but I guess there have been a lot of nuances when it comes to it.
Yeah. So do we need to go over the F7 sec
Oh,
quickly?
no, I've done plenty of videos on that, and all of that still stands true.
Right.
I think everyone should know at this point.
Alright, so I guess we'll start with knight f3. There are a few things that white can do to make like the standard defense against the f7 sack very awkward. So I'll try one of them now. So you should play knight f6.
Okay, so I guess in this position, is knight f6 already the only playable move here?
You might be able to get away with something else, but yeah, knight f6.
Okay, this is the standard approach. I mean, it has been for a while, and I guess for the sake of this video, this is probably what we should focus on, right?
Yeah, so if d4 happens, you just play d5 and then c6, and you're pretty much safe.
So the classic
f7 sack shenanigans.
the classic London system, which still holds true, and I guess you get into a position where black's always like slightly worse, but it's definitely playable, right?
Yeah, super playable. If c4 happens, you can play c5, and then again, like all the f7 sacks, they're not going to happen. So c4, just play c5, you'll get a playable position. You can also play c6, that gets more complicated. e3, though, can pose some problems if you don't know what you're doing. So if you just can try playing d5 now, and we can show sort of a dangerous line. If you play d5, then c4 is a very problematic move. Here you basically have to play c6 to close the diagonal to your king, so you don't get mated. Queen
I
a4.
guess you have to do that immediately. That seems logical. You don't want to really move the knight.
And yeah, now the problem is this move, and there's no good recapture. If you take with the c pawn, of course you're going to get mated by queen a4. If you take with the knight, that opens up the file to your f7 pawn, so that's no good. So that basically just leaves queen takes a d5, but then
you lose the tempo.
And so that'll just be a very this position I think is quite bad for black. So you want to avoid this at all costs. So that means that if your opponent plays knight f3 then e3, or e3 then knight f3, you really can't do the standard d5 move. But there are some good options against this.
Okay, so I guess I mean
c4.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense as well when you try and look back at the history a little bit, where white, I guess this is like a good example of white claiming an advantage with breaking the symmetry early, where black has to react because he has to move slower and already opened up the file to his king, whereas white didn't have to do that. You want to go over some of the defense options?
So we'll go, let's see, just a match. Okay, wait. Just a match. There. Alright, so I guess the defense you have to do is different depending on whether they start with knight f3 or if they start with e3. So we'll go through the knight f3 to start. So here you should play. I think you should play c6.
D6. Okay, interesting.
C6.
C6. Okay.
Yeah. So since white didn't close the triagonal to f2, now you're threatening to go queen b6 and do a winning travel. So white basically will have to, you know, play c3 or
okay.
c4.
So the point is that white hasn't played d4 in this variant, so e3 is too slow to close off queen b6 and then traveling back to f2. Okay.
Yeah, so black can already force a draw or get a a fine position like b4. You can play here. You can play queen b6 if you want to force a draw, or you can just play something like d6.
What do you mean by force a draw?
By sacrificing onto
okay,
f2
then exiling.
and
exiling.
And then exiling.
Okay, but why would white play c4 here then?
Well, they need to bring the queen out so that like they don't just get mated by the travel onto f2.
Okay, so in this position after wait, does this mean after knight f3 e3 you can always force a draw as black?
Pretty much, yeah.
After 2 moves, wow, that's 6. So I guess this shouldn't be played as white if you are going for a win.
Yeah, you don't really need to worry about this unless you're playing a much lower rated player. In which case, in this position, you should play like d6 and just continue.
Yeah, but I mean like as white, this is already like let's call it a little bit of a concession when it comes to like competitive.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you're saying already here black has some options, whereas how to advance. But okay, so you can keep it complicated, or you can just play queen b6 here, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would play d6, because I obviously can't allow any draws. But yeah.
Okay, and now
we can show the exiling line if you want. People might want to know that. It's pretty important.
I mean, it's just a so. Oh, you mean because it's different because white has a Jurassic here, or?
Well, you need to know what to do to like get the exile off, right?
Okay, I mean
it's not complicated, but it's slightly different than the
okay. That's the point. That's the point. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, so I take. You should, I think, still play knight a6 or knight h6.
And the reason why there's no softmate here is because there's like white has like a queen travel, or what's the?
Well, the queen will, the queen can parallel come into and land on b3, which will cover b6. So you're not getting soft mated, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes some sense. So this might be a little bit like the point is if black goes for a soft mate, which ends with the queen check at the end, white can travel to this square right here. I'm just highlighting this, and then go over 3 timelines to actually capture the queen at the end. Okay, so what you're saying is black should play for this. Can get a soft mate here with what was it? Was it knight f6 or was it knight h6?
Knight h6.
Okay.
Then white basically has to play knight f3, otherwise you're getting soft mated on the f file at some point.
Okay, and then you give a check.
g4.
Okay, then you give a check, and then you travel back, I guess.
Move, you travel to f4. Yeah.
You go here, and then this is gonna be the inactive.
And this will be, that'll be a forced draw. You just need to, travel both of your kings off to inactive timelines. So
yeah, like.
And then cover the rook check onto your king.
This and I guess like some other move, right?
I'm just gonna do nothing.
Yeah, no. I think the point.
Yeah.
I think the point is. Wait, actually, this doesn't work, right? Because you can capture them.
Your queen could. Your queen's defending the bishop, so that should be fine. But
yeah, it doesn't matter. Like the point is that we're gonna end up in a position where black has no kings. But okay, I mean, okay, I think we went far enough here. So so the point is, this is not really that dangerous for black when it comes to like defense, and you already have some options in that line. If white goes,
as long as you if they play knight f3, then e3, just don't play d5, play c6, and you're gonna be fine.
Okay, so e3 second means you get some counter initiative immediately with c6, and it's gonna be c6 and not c5 because c5 would be blocking the diagonal, obviously. Right, very nice.
All right, create another one.
How long did it take you to internalize all this variant, or was it like learning by doing?
I'm basically learning by doing. Sometimes people would come at me with some new line, and then I would, figure out a refutation.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so let's look at e3 first. So knight f6 is the only not losing move here, I'm pretty sure. So
Okay.
that's simple enough. And then knight f3. So the issue here is if you try to play c6, it's not going to work. This the triangle to f2 has already been blocked. And if you play d5, of course, you get the c4 line, so that's no good. So
yeah, that's true. Because it's the same position, right?
It's just a transposition basically. So the best move is e6, and you need to know Tone's defense, which is quite complicated. That's only if you need to avoid white forcing a draw. If you don't need to avoid white forcing a draw, e6, and you don't need to know all that much, you're gonna be fine. e6 is a good move here.
But wait, I actually have a quick question. Since we arrive since after d5 we arrive in a similar position. Is how is e3 not an objective improvement then over the knight f3 first?
So there's tons of complicated lines. Like you haven't closed the f file, so like knight g4 here, for example, is a line, and it's super complicated. I think white does better in that line, but there's just a ton more stuff that white needs to know
that makes,
which is why.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, we're covering this for the sake of getting a playable position as black, which makes sense. Okay, so you're saying e6 is the only playable move?
But yeah, I think it's the best move.
Okay.
And then, are we worried about white forcing a draw here, or?
Of course.
If against c3, white is attempting to force a draw, and it's quite complicated what you need to know to avoid that, because you haven't closed the triagonal to f7 with this e6 move.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Are we worried about this move?
Yeah.
We
want a playable position as black, right? And to have a playable position, we need to know we don't want to draw, right?
Right. So now you should play c5.
5. Okay.
And I'm going to play queen b3, preparing the travel, and now you play queen a5.
Queen a5. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And the point of that will become clear. So I'll do the travel.
Huh?
Now let's take a look at the queen back on the 0 timeline. So it can travel. You can see that it can travel all the way to turn 0 on f5, and so that'll be very important. So basically, our plan is on this board where the queen just traveled to. If we're going to set up our queen on this new timeline to assist our queen that will travel to f5, so that we can get a mate. If our opponent.
So it's a little bit like a Denwell trap.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what the Danrell trap is. I don't know the names of things, but
it was the first counter travel where you're covering your queen cross timelines, where you're not trying to play defensively but offensively on the new timeline.
Yeah.
So I guess
that's probably it.
Okay. So we take the queen here, or what do we do?
Yeah, you take the queen. So now there are kind of two lines white can go for, so we'll start with at h3. So now I'm threatening to do exiling by playing knight g5 and then traveling onto f5. So you can't you can't play the knight out to f6, which is what you would want to do. You can't move your king back, or you can move your king back, but that's a bit too slow. So what you should do is play e6.
Okay.
Which opens up the queen, so the queen will cover
and
g5.
this is just again, this is all necessary to not get drawed by force, basically, as black.
Yeah. So now white can play e3, and they're trying to get the queen out to h5 or f3 for mate. But if they do this, you just play queen h4, and that's setting up the assist for your other queen.
That's the mate. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So like this.
Then it doesn't really matter what you do here. I'll just do that, and now do the travel to f5. Okay, now's a good time to mention that this only works if your opponent starts with e3 and then plays knight f3. If they play knight f3, e3, this doesn't work.
Okay.
Because right now, like if I play like this, now black can travel onto e4. That would mate white. So that's why. And that's only possible because white played e3 on the first move, which opened a triagonal to the king. If I do
Oh,
this,
you mean
just travel
you mean on this timeline? Okay, I think I get it.
Yeah.
You go like.
If I play knight f3, you travel to e4. That's mate. I don't know how.
Wait,
to
wait.
show
What board do I travel on? Oh, on
zero
0L.
L.
Okay, okay. Oh man, that's a cool. Okay, so the point is you travel on e4 here, and then you go through e5. Sorry, e3, then e2, and then e1, and you actually checkmate on this board. No, wait, which one do you mate? Oh no, okay, we're playing best. Oh, so you actually checkmate the king up here, where they just sack the queen, going through like here, here, and here. Okay, that's super cool stuff. Okay, okay, and that's why it only works after you open e3. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So and because of that, there's only one move for white. You have to play e3, which would block that mate. But now you just take on f2, and your queen is defended.
Ah, yeah. Wow, that is sick. Okay, so black, if you do the travel now, it's going to be blocked by the pawn here because it can't go through anymore. But now if you take on f2, then it's going to be checkmate because the queen is defending from all the way down here. Wow, that is cool stuff. Okay, that's kind of like the advanced theory. Okay, very interesting. Okay, then let's quickly.
So,
yep.
So there's also like instead of white playing knight h3 on their new timeline, they can play knight f3, which is a bit different.
Huh?
You also look at that; it's quite complicated as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
we could just refer people
we can just
to,
run it back quickly.
We could also just refer people to Tones' document if we don't want to spend too much time on this.
Let's just quickly show it off. I think this was a cool variant to look at. I mean, we can just run it back quickly, right?
Yep. Right, so e3 first.
Okay, then knight f6, so forced.
Forced, knight f3.
Then this is the best move.
c3, c5.
Now c5, okay. That's quite some stuff to remember already. Queen out, and now queen a5.
And then I travel.
And I don't travel yet. I mean, does it actually matter if you travel immediately? I guess it's better to keep
it does matter,
okay.
I think. Because white doesn't necessarily have to, go for mate. If you travel, white can just like chill, and you've both made timelines. It gets very chaotic.
Okay, I mean, there's no reason to travel when you don't need to, I guess.
So knight f3, and now I'm already threatening a travel onto knight f5 if you don't move your king. So black has to play king to e8 to avoid getting.
Yeah, this was actually the first soft mate that when it first arrived. Black had to
yeah,
move.
Let's see. Not exactly sure. Just say I'll play e3. Now you should play e6. And let's see. I think this is the right. I'm just gonna play a nothing move or gonna play like a move like this to threaten some mates, I guess. Right, and now I believe we are ready to do the travel to f5.
Okay. So the point of knight g4 is also to block the queen from coming out to h4.
Yeah. Yeah. So e3 is forced.
It's
and
so
now
sick
you
that
sack
E3
onto f. And so you sack onto f2 again.
Okay. So this time we sacrifice, like this.
This time it's an actual sacrifice.
Okay.
And I take back, and now your queen, all the way from the other timeline, has to come over here to the new timeline on f6.
This? Okay. Ah, okay, interesting. Wow. So it's a
knight f3 is forced. Knight f3 is forced, otherwise just queen h4 would be mate. Now you just play queen f5. Which threatens a travel onto f2, which you'll do next turn. So queen f5 here.
Like this, right?
And it doesn't matter what white does. Yep.
Okay.
And then just travel onto f2.
Like this. Oh wow! Okay, okay, that is quite sick. And then this is mate again? No, it's not mate.
Well, I guess I've set up a travel, but I don't think this really helps. So that's what I have.
Okay, okay, you have okay, but it doesn't matter. You can just checkmate here, I guess.
It's game over.
And then okay, interesting. So the difference is that if you play knight f3, you can't get your queen out, but instead you can like you can still always kill your opponent first, basically. And this is the whole point of queen a5, I guess, is that you get the because it's a good vector to always get to f5, which is a very dangerous attacking spot, especially because after one e3 there's always the threat on e4 to give immediate checkmate, which forces a defensive move from white.
It's quite a beautiful thing. Tones is a genius. All right.
Yeah, I've actually never seen this, which makes this even more awesome, and just proves my point that this is a lot more beautiful to see in action than rather than like reading a document.
Yeah.
But of course, still like huge props to him for actually coming up with this stuff. That's actually quite impressive. Denwell would be proud. What else do we got?
I think that should be the main stuff. Now I've got a couple of cheese lines to go over.
Oh, definitely gotta go to the cheese line.
See.
I mean, but to be honest, like it is like tough, like because you have to be like insanely precise as black to like pull this off. But like once you got this down, I guess this means that more or less there's gonna be less cheese opportunities, because like you said, that's actually like an interesting way of balancing, because in the knight f3 and then e3 line, black always has the forced draw, which kind of counterbalances it a little bit again.
Alright, so this is a cheese line that starts with e3.
Okay. And you go knight f6? You said this is the only move, right?
That's the only move. And now b4. And the point of b4 is that bishop b2 is actually quite an annoying move. It targets this like key defender on f6.
Ah, okay.
And also b4, we play b4 instead of b3 so that we still have options of going for the f7 sack.
Okay.
Here I believe e6 is the best line that I've found against this. Or at least the easiest line. There's lots of options, but I like e6.
Okay, and if you go e6, there's no c4 and there's no c3 queen b3 or something?
Well, there is, but there's a refutation, which I will show.
Okay, so we're going e3? E6?
Or e6, yep.
Okay.
And so now the point is, if you play bishop, b2 to try and take the knight, you just play queen e7. And then you're defending f7, and you're basically safe. And then you've got a playable position, and the game will go from there.
Okay, so the point of bishop b2 is just taking off the knight and then going like queen h4, or
yeah.
Ah, okay, interesting.
And basically, like the reason why, like you might think you can play d5 here instead of e6, but if you play d5, it gets quite tricky because you won't have any defense on f7. So they'll play bishop b2, you'll play c6. Or if you play c6 at that point, they already probably can take on f6, then play queen h5. So it gets very 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 fast. We could show that if you want after.
No, I believe you. It certainly looks tricky, and especially if it's unnecessary. And e6 is just a safer option, I think. There's probably a bunch of stuff going on here already. Looking at this. There's certainly some stuff, but yeah, I guess focusing on f7, it's like the main goal here.
All right, so they'll play c3 to try and set up the sack, and now
so that is the cheese. Okay, yeah.
So now knight d5.
Knight d5, okay, and you can't go d5 now because you're getting checkmated, right?
So you have to play knight d5, and that sets up a check where we take on e3. So if they go for the sack, now you play knight takes e3 check.
Okay, now
probably.
And now white is too late.
Now there are no more travels for white, and black should play. I think just queen f6 sets up some very good travels. And white can't really stop it. let's like just try, you know, a basic defense to show some of the ideas that that black has. So they'll try knight f3 to close off some of the diagonals eventually. I think the best move here is like a bishop to c5, or bishop maybe to bishop takes b4.
Yeah, just a forcing move, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just to force a check, or yeah, just so your opponent can't set up a Jurassic or any defense against your incoming travel.
Yeah.
And so then let's say, you know, let's say they just take with the queen.
And now you travel.
Now you can travel. Yeah, now you can travel onto f2. It's mate in 2 after they take.
Okay. Nice.
So king takes, now knight e4.
Knight check, and then queen h6.
King will move anywhere, then yeah.
Go here, right?
Queen h4.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I guess you have a Jurassic, but it doesn't matter.
I have some travels here. They don't really, you know, they're not really useful.
Okay, so the point is, if they go for b4 shenanigans, you can still like develop kind of normally, but you still have to be like slightly protective. Like this doesn't mean that you can counteract immediately with like c6 or c5, I guess. I guess c6 makes no sense in this anyway because white played e3.
They started with e3, yeah. So you have to go down the f file for your counterplay.
Yeah, I mean, if you play this, you probably have to know some stuff for white as well, right? Because there might be like some like, especially once the knight moves gets tricky, right? So e6 makes a lot of sense because it just opens up the queen and sets up counter ideas on the f file, which is weak for white.
So I think that's all we need to show for this line.
Okay. Yep. But you got one more?
Yeah, one more. This one I don't really have a specific line, but there are some. Actually, I do have a specific line. All right, let's go. Okay. Knight f3, knight f6.
Yes.
This is a line that Romad was playing in the candidates actually. So I think it goes c3, and then you play d5.
Okay, pretty standard.
And then I think it was e4.
Wow, really?
You play.
Love that. Okay.
Or actually, I'm not sure if maybe it might have started with knight g5. Anyways, I like my opponents do something crazy like this. I like to play knight c6 here instead of c6 because their position is very flimsy. So I think we don't need the rock solid c6. We want our knight to be able to assist in like the complexities to come. So I like playing knight c6 here.
Okay.
And so the line Romad played was like knight g5. This is what he played against c6 as well. And or like you have to worry about a knight takes f7 as long as after knight takes f7, king takes f7. There's sometimes a bishop travel onto f6, and then followed by queen h5, and then some
from
other,
f1. You mean? You mean from f1 after?
From f1.
Ah, okay.
That can sometimes be dangerous. It's not dangerous here because we've got a good setup, and so here I think I should play e5, and then
e5
queen can assist. Yes.
Okay.
This is what I played in the candidates against Romad.
This is a fun variant already. Yep.
If they take on f7, you should basically immediately take with the king, and there shouldn't be any travels, so I think you're safe. Mm-hmm. But it does get complicated, and otherwise, you know, you can play queen e7. You should be safe here, although it is very complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what Black's got going for them in this position in particular is that White is never going to take on d5, right? So they're sort of like blocking themselves themselves in a little bit when it comes to stuff. But yeah, this reminds me of the old days where it was just like sack on f7 as fast as possible. Doesn't matter what piece, doesn't matter what the situation is. Okay, but I think that's fine enough. Like if you say this position is very playable and you probably have some options already, it's still gonna be tough. Probably not gonna be like an automatic defense. But I guess the ideas are always like sort of similar, right?
Yeah, like against knight g5. You basically always want to move your e-pawn to either e6 or e5. e5 is pretty rare, e6, and then play queen e7, and then pretty safe. Then you can kick the knight safely with h6 and continue on from there. Like there are there are lots of different move orders where your opponent like just randomly throws in knight g5. As long as you remember to move your e-pawn, play queen e7, you're going to be fine.
I did just one final question about this knight c6 move, because it doesn't. I get that you want to develop the knight to have like some additional counter attack, but I guess you always want to go queen e7 here. So so the point is that there's no upside to playing c6, which leaves queen b6 in the position, but you don't want to ever play queen b6 anyway.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a matter of taste, really. I really like just having the knight ready to go. You can definitely c6 is definitely playable.
Okay. I mean that's good when there's some options. Okay, very interesting. So there's still some cheese. Okay, you got another line?
Let's see. There's a line. It's a very cheese. Well, it's sort of a terrible line. I guess we can show it a bit, but
of course, like let's end it off here with a
it's a bit of a silly line.
Cheese.
It's called the Digolian. I don't really want to reveal its secrets too much, you know, just because Mage has enjoyed playing against Sumet with it. So it's knight f3, knight f6.
Yeah.
And then it's this weird knight a3 move. And here, black has like tons of playable options, but I'll just show like a common pitfall.
Would be
like
d5?
where black plays many. d5 is totally good, so play d5. But we're going to show a common pitfall that comes afterwards, where you play a bunch of natural moves and everything seems fine, but you get into quite a lot of trouble. So
can't wait.
I'll play c6.
Okay.
And d4. Now
knights only.
So now the bishop your light squared bishop, you just want to leave it there, covering e6 safely. Mm-hmm. So a pitfall people fall into is that they play bishop g4, which is probably fine on its own. You can get into some trouble.
I think I already know what we're getting at here.
Yeah, so I'll just play e3, and like for the sake of example, just play like something like silly like a6. And I'll play, let's say, a3 and play bishop h5.
Okay.
You can see like the e6 square is attacked by a knight. It's not well enough defended. So already like a knight traveling onto e6, that would be mate. So I think you can just play g4 here, and then.
Can you not? Can you not? I mean, I just have to ask. Can you not just check immediately? And then go knight e5?
Well, there might be bishop d1 check. I don't know. It's kind of complicated.
Oh, you have a check then. Okay, yeah. Okay, this isn't 2D chess, I guess. You take the queen with check. Okay, makes sense. Okay. I mean, but I guess this is still good enough. Like, I mean, here probably the best move is already sacking, right? But okay,
yeah, I think you might be able to survive.
Yeah.
But it's gonna. Like you're going to be in some trouble, because now you can probably maybe play like queen d6, which would defend the travel. But you're going to get into some light squared trouble. I don't really know the details, so I probably am not playing this the best for white.
No, but I get the idea, which is kind of cute. So the point is that eventually, I mean maybe even right now you can already like travel here, and then.
I think the queen is defending. But like, just for example, we'll show it. But key to like not have any troubles at all whatsoever against this opening is to just leave your bishop on c8 and develop normally. So this would be mate, but the queen is defending that square.
Okay, but okay, no, okay, so. I get it. So the point would be like if you're not careful, like if you give up too much light square control, and also I mean white doesn't have to go for this if like, it's not actually mate. Just gets a little bit tricky, where basically you do a knight attack rather than a queen attack. I like this variant. This seems like a fun switcheroo, which is kind of nice because it's nice to see that white still has some options as well out of the opening. And for black, I mean the kind of the story, I guess, is that you most of the time you end up playing like the same moves. It's just the order that depends on it, right?
Yeah. So I think that's all the dangerous stuff that I remember. Although there is now this new E4 line in the London system, which we could go over briefly.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can briefly go over that. I mean, that's the one you played in the World Championship, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's very good, but it can get quite scary. So. Alright, so yeah, after this e4 move, I believe knight takes, if you play knight takes e4, you're losing. If you play like bishop g4, I think you're worse. So I think the only good move for black here is d takes e4. And now white basically has two options, otherwise you just take the knight. If they play knight e5, the move you have to know is bishop e6, which stops like stuff like bishop c4 and queen b3. Like otherwise you're just gonna get murdered along the diagonal to f7.
Yeah, that seems like a natural move.
So if knight e5, just play bishop e6 and you're good to go. The scary move, although I think this is a dubious move, is knight g5.
Man, this looks a little bit like a Budapest gambit.
So the best move here, I believe, is h6.
H6,
so, which is very scary, but neither of bishop c4 or queen b3 or knight takes f7 work, as far as I can tell.
Okay, so this
is
yeah.
This is cutting edge theory, so I'm not like 100% sure on this. I'm not 100% sure on some of the other stuff I've showed, but this is like the least sure.
I think h6. If you go queen d5, you're just gonna play c4, or what's the point?
Queen d5. I'm not sure about queen d5. Seems like you might get hit with like knight a3, then bishop c4 at some point. Probably queen d5 could be a move.
Okay. I mean maybe
I
you
think
could just pick
c4.
Okay, but you're saying h6.
I think h6 is the most direct way. I think you can play. I think queen d5 is definitely probably playable.
Definitely, probably. That's what I like to hear.
So, bishop c4 or queen b3, you never quite get a travel onto f7, and black can just play, h takes g5, and then
really you have time to take the knight here. Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could show one of those lines.
That's fine.
It's kind of important. So let's show the bishop c4 line now. H takes g5. Then bishop takes, king takes. Then queen d3, and you're just in time to play queen to d5. Which challenges the queen, and you can take a look at the travel that the queen can do. It's not a dangerous one. You're one turn too late. And if you play like c4, and you just have queen a5 check, and it's actually mate. It'll be mate in a few turns for black.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Queen
Why is this mate? Why can you not?
Well, we'll show it. Let's see. So bishop d2 is the only move, and now e3.
E3. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Okay.
And then you have to take the queen, of course, because it's checking you. And now just he takes f2.
Take f2, and then wow, that is
check, and then the king goes somewhere. Then bishop e6 is mate. So
that is beautiful. Wow. Okay, maybe you showed off this one as well. so the point.
Bishop c4.
Yeah, and all of this was forced as well, because when the queen was captured, we were actually giving a check with the queen in the past, and then we had like another check in a row. That's cool stuff. I like this one a lot.
And then we'll just one more variation from that line.
Okay. Wait, I think I just trolled someone by joining the game.
Oh.
That's fine. Okay. So I guess the story of this kind of is like that. That white still has some options in the opening, but I guess like most of the time, if not always, you want to start with knight f3 or e3, and as black you have to be like very precise to actually like.
To be precise, if white deviates from normal stuff, usually you're going to get a good position as long as you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like for the sake of beginners, like a lot of the stuff like isn't like too bad. Like even like forcing a draw is gonna be like acceptable, right? When just starting off for the chess kind of point. Okay, I still go h6 here.
And queen b3 here instead of bishop c4, it's even worse because you can't sack onto f7, and the triangle will just be blocked. So the only other try I think is knight takes f7, and now you do play queen d5 here.
Okay, now you can't take because then the check plus bishop check is too bad, or?
Taking is very risky. Yeah, I think you get mated if you take.
I mean, you can maybe even sack your queen then, right? No, I guess not, because the knight's protecting f4, f5, f4. Yeah. Okay, if you take, you're probably just gonna get killed on.
If you take, actually, there's going to be a bishop travel onto f6 at some point, which would be mate. That's very scary.
Okay, via like f4 or f3, and then traveling the bishop on the knight. Okay, so but I guess queen d5 makes some sense.
Yeah. Now you're threatening to safely take the knight with the queen, and also like this position is basically like it's going to collapse. You've got winning travels onto f2. At some point, you can play e3 and open up.
E3 is always an idea, right?
Diagonal. So white is basically doomed here, I think. So I think we can leave it at that. Don't have any specific lines to show here, but this is, I think, the best way to play against knight g4 or knight g5.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, there might still be like some cheese potential, like if you take the rook and then. I guess not, because the knight's covering g8.
I think they're pretty safe here.
Oh, and also the queen. Oh, the queen's also covering h5. Okay, no, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's everything.
That's it. All right. I mean, that's not too bad. Like, especially, I mean, it's a couple of lines that are very sharp, but I mean, at least getting a playable position, like as black seems fine. And I guess so in your view, what would be like the most ambitious opening for white at the moment?
That might just have to be. Well, if you're okay with a draw as white, then you have lots of options. If you want to avoid a draw as white, you basically have to go for the London.
Really? Okay. Because but what about the what if you go c4? Where are you gonna get a draw?
Knight f3, knight f6, c4. Oh, you can do that. That's probably a fine option too. I think black has tons of options, tons of sharp options. So I think it's kind of risky. You're giving black a lot of. They're the one who's having fun and having the choice as to what direction the game goes. But I think c4 it might be an ambitious option.
Okay, interesting. But I mean, the point is this, and I guess we just got a lot more specific. But I guess it makes sense that like this position is still like the go-to, like the London is still like the go-to when it comes to like normal play. And I guess there's been like watching your match as well. There's been a lot of queen trades early, which always lead to an interesting game, right?
Yeah, I really like that end game.
Okay, so what do you think? What are like your closing remarks? Do you think like most of the stuff has been found by now, out of the opening?
It's hard to say. I think. Well, what I'm worried about is that there might be a lot of like more complicated exiling options, and which would really ruin a lot of openings. I think things are in a fine state. Like I just wish exiling didn't exist. Then there would be so many more options.
That makes two of us. Like I've actually been saying this like right from the start. Not just because I was always on the receiving end of of getting exiled, because people obviously have more incentive to go for a draw if you're leading an elo. But it's also because it just seemed it really seemed like an unintended game mechanic when with like having all of the active timelines and having them be inactive. So
it seems silly, but people are a fan, or some. It seems.
yeah, I mean, like, I guess it's like kind of the kind of BS that makes the game unique. But of course, there's like some competitive flaws, and I mean, we've talked about this before as well, like how we're both like advocating like some different variants as well, especially like defended pawn. But I mean, Turn Zero is always gonna have a place. In competitive play as well, and especially watching your match against Rima. I mean, it's still nice to see that you have like some options to go like for, especially if both sides are trying to go like for a competitive match. You still get to see a lot of action, and
that was some of the most fun 5D chess I've ever played for sure. Like,
that's nice. Yeah, it was very nice to watch as well, and actually made me. This is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to get a let's call it an opening masterclass from you quickly. So maybe I have some room as well to get back into the game. Competitively sometime, but yeah, I mean, to maybe also sum this up, you've been saying that you want to now create some content of your own, right?
yeah, I've got some basically going to be positional lessons videos.
Okay, so
I
you're
think
gonna
there's
yeah.
a lot of deep stuff that I think people are missing, or that's just. But it really changes the way you think about the game, I think, and I think it'll make some very very instructive videos.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds great. Like, it especially sounds like sort of unique unique content. I guess what you're going to be doing is you're going to pick out like specific positions and then go like really in depth and show up like different variants, right?
I've got like. I'm not gonna go in depth. It's gonna be it's the first video is gonna be like a very like long-term positional stuff. So it's not gonna be about specific moves. It's gonna be about the course the game takes.
Okay, yeah, no, I get it. It makes some sense. Like, I mean, I can't wait to check this one out. Also, everyone, make sure to give give Ryan a sub. I'm gonna link his channel, and then now it's up to you, because now you're gonna have to make those videos.
The video might take a long time to make. For now, there's not really the videos are kind of silly, so don't expect anything now. But maybe in a month I'll have finished the video.
We all gotta start somewhere, right? All right. Anyway, thanks for doing this, man. This was actually quite instructive. Maybe I'm gonna do like, maybe I can do like different time marks as well to cover different stuff. But yeah, any last words for like young aspiring 5D chess players getting into the game?
I don't know. Just play a lot of games. Don't be too worried that you're gonna get blown out. And yeah, have fun and enjoy the process.
Excellent. I still think to this day it's very worth it as a variant to get into this game. There's just a lot of stuff to be done, and still a lot of stuff to be discovered. But yeah, for now, thanks to you, Ryan. Thanks for watching, everyone, and yeah, we'll be seeing you around, and hopefully on the Discord as well. See you guys.